everybody. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Clarity Project podcast. I am your host, 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗜𝗓. For today's episode, as you could see, we don't have a guest yet, but don't worry, we're working on it. We're looking into their availabilities. We're working on the technical aspects to make sure that we can give more clarity to you guys, okay? That being said, I'm going to take my notebook again, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to reflect on it afterwards. So, for today's episode of the Clarity Project podcast, let's start reading some notes, shall we? Okay. For today's episode, first note goes out like this. People are oddly consistent. Karma is just you, repeating your patterns, virtues, and flaws until you finally get what you deserve. People are oddly consistent. Karma is just you, repeating your patterns, virtues, and flaws until you finally get what you deserve. Okay, now when I read that passage, I was like, okay, people are consistent, karma is just you. It made me question, do people really don't change? Think about who you were when you were a kid versus to who you are now. Or probably think about someone that you knew from childhood and think about who they are right now. Did they change? Did they not change? Probably you could say that they did change, but some aspects of them still remain true. So I guess I'm a little lost here on what this means because, well, for one, it's probably taken out of context. When I wrote this, it probably sounds or it probably made sense to me. But let me try and clarify to this, right? So, people are oddly consistent. Karma is just you, repeating your pattern, virtues, and flaws until you finally get what you deserve. I guess this is more on an optimistic side because it tells you that if you're consistent enough, if you stay true to who you are, then eventually, like this cosmic karma is going to happen and it's going to reward you or punish you based on the things that you have done. That being said, it begs the question of whether when you are good, then chances are, if you do it long enough, if you're consistent enough, if this is who you truly are, good things will happen to you. If you do bad stuff and you do evil things, then it's only a matter of time before a similar effect happens to you. But we also can't deny the fact that sometimes life doesn't work that way, or probably what we call karma is not that quick. It's not instantaneous, or that it's not that omnipotent. It doesn't happen right away, and that's why when we do something good and we're not rewarded right away, we feel like it's a sham, it's a fake. We shouldn't have done that in the first place. But at the same time, doing good feels really good. I know this quote from somewhere. It says that generosity is probably the most selfish thing that you can do, because the feeling that you get out of giving something to someone is a high that you cannot give to anybody else. And so generosity in this way becomes the most selfish thing to do because it's such a good feeling. It's such a great feeling to have. Moreover, when you do something evil and that you're not punished by it right away, it's not instantaneous, or that you get punished by it, but it's not commensurate to the things that you did, you feel like you can get away with it again. And so you delve down and you dive down into this realm and the spiral of being evil or doing bad things or doing the bad things over and over again, making it a habit. If you try to look and you try to understand life that way, it might seem to be a kind of a depressing world if justice or injustices happen because karma is not that quick or it's not that consistent. But probably this next passage will give insight to that. So I'm going to read the next passage. I think this is from 𝗦𝗢𝗓𝗦𝗓, right? He's talking about why we should strive to be good even if cosmic karma is not that consistent, or that we see that it's not that omnipotent, or probably we see that it's not commensurate to the things that we've done, right? So I think this is from a podcast where he was doing a podcast interview with Joe Rogan. Then again, I'm not too sure because this was in April 30, 2023, and probably have known this way before that. But yeah, let's just take that in mind, okay? So let me read the note. I don't think you should do that, not because of some cosmic karma, but because deep down we know who we are. You cannot hide anything from yourself. Your own failures are written within your psyche, and they are obvious to you. Let me repeat that. I don't think you should do that, not because of some cosmic karma, but because deep down we know who we are. You cannot hide anything from yourself. Your own failures are written within your own psyche, and they are obvious to you. So let's pretend for a moment that you get away with something bad that you did, and you get away with it numerous times over. And let's just pretend that you get away from it all throughout your life. Nobody gets to know your dirty little secret. But here's the thing, you know your secret. You know the things that you have done. You know the skeletons in your closet. You know the skeletons that you bury deep in the deepest depths of your heart. And so, even if you can escape the justice system and the laws that we have, the governing laws of your country or whatever territory that you're in, even though you can escape the consequences and the repercussions of what you did from other people and other systems, you cannot escape yourself. You are with yourself 24/7, 365 days a year. As I'm saying that, I am reminded of a quote and as a saying, as a platitude really, of how the greatest relationship that you can have is a relationship with yourself, because for one, your relationship with yourself is the longest relationship that you're ever going to have, and it's the most real. You cannot escape yourself. Your relationship with yourself is the most important. And so what Naval is trying to say here is that it doesn't matter if other people didn't see it. Matter is, do you see it? Because you cannot escape it. It's going to linger in your feelings, and it's going to build up until you cannot forgive yourself, which is always a bad thing. And so let's get real here for a moment. Think about the things that you have done, things that you're currently doing that are bad, or the bad habits that you have that you know you should stop. Your bad attitudes, your bad behavior, all of these things build up over time. And you might feel like you can get away with it. You might feel like it's just you. You're just being your authentic self. But also know this, at some point in your life, these poisons will eat you alive. These things that are really bad that you're doing will get back at you. Again, you cannot escape yourself. That being said, let this be a reminder to all of us to be good, even though it's hard sometimes, even though some people test us, and even though it's really hard to be good towards the attitude that they're giving us, towards the behaviors that they're giving us. I know it's hard to be good, and that's why we value being good, because we know how hard it is. That's why it's a virtue, because it's not that easy to be good, even when other people are being bad, mean, or showing hatred towards us. That being said, I guess that's a podcast. If you watch this as a whole and you've watched this in snippets, I'd like to be able to thank you, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.